you can definitely catch the replays inside of the private Facebook group there, day 1 and day 2. But more importantly, I want to just really introduce myself. My name is Kendra Johnson, and I'm the founder of Single Mom Legacy. And Single Mom Legacy was created to empower, equip, provide community tools and resources to single mothers who are really in this space of looking to reconnect to who they are as women, empower themselves as moms, and really start to tap into their potential and purpose and start to fulfill some of their dreams. And for me, the only way that I believe strongest to do that is if you choose yourself. And so that is really what this challenge, this 4-day challenge that I created, is really all about, is providing resources, knowledge, information, some good conversations to empower you, my mom, to start choosing yourself so that you can get clarity, you can get direction, you can start to see past your current situation, your current stuff, right? So that you can really start to live the dreams and live the life that I know that you know that you're capable of, right? So today is day 3, and day 3 is all about how do you set goals and take action, but how do you do that without fear, right? So anybody can set a goal. Anybody can write something on a piece of paper. Anybody can have an awesome idea. But there's always a gap between execution, the doing, getting out of your head, right? And so day 3 is really going to be all about how do you do that, right? So how do you do that without the fear, the overwhelm, the stress, right? And so let me go ahead and pull up my stuff. Let's see here. Pull up my stuff. And so like the other 2 days, ladies, we're streaming on Facebook and on Zoom. And so if you want to kind of like ask questions and have like a little bit different level of engagement, you are free to hop on the Zoom call. If not, all is well, right? And so like I said, the other 2 days, I am kind of like looking back and forth between screens because there are a lot of ladies in the Facebook group that are commenting and asking questions. And so I want to make sure that I give those things the time and space to answer those things. All right, let's make sure we're good on Facebook. All right, cool. So like I said, today is day 3, all about goals and action, right? And walking into this place of being a single mother and living without fear. And so the first thing I would just, offer you, and so again, today is probably going to be a little bit shorter than the other days, but just moms, like, consider what's keeping you from taking action, right? So this is kind of like a lead in from yesterday. And so I really love that some of you all shared in the Facebook group what were some of the things that you felt like were keeping you from taking action. So people said things like multitasking, doing too much, holding you back was moving too fast and learning how to slow down and appreciate life. Somebody said they don't have a habit of like resting, right? Like they're always busy doing stuff. And so it's really important, if you want to have goals and take action and do those things without fear, all the overwhelm, all the stress, right, that oftentimes can come with, being a single mother. You have to take a pause and just like be real and honest with yourself about what's keeping me from taking the action that is attached to the goal that I have, right? So, I work with so many moms that have awesome dreams, business ideas, desires to buy homes, desires to move neighborhoods, right? All these very achievable, reasonable, realistic goals, right? But there's usually something that's keeping them from taking the action, executing and doing. And so, day 1 was about your emotions and your mindset. Like, is that what's keeping you from doing it? Or perhaps maybe you got too much extra baggage and extra stuff that you're holding on to. Yesterday, people talked about expectations, like other people's expectations was the thing that was really like holding them back and holding them down. And so that's really like the first step, ladies, is that you have to just consider what's keeping you from taking action, or at best maybe being consistent. Because maybe perhaps you're trying, right? You've written a chapter, you started the business plan, but it's like this cat and mouse, stop, start, you get sidetracked, you can't finish it. It's difficult for you to like maintain momentum. And so the thing that really worked for me in my journey to really achieve my goals and start doing the things that I really, really felt were passionate for me was that I had to dig deep into my values. And so, values is the thing that I know for me as a single mom. I used the example yesterday of money, right? I had such a strong value and attachment to money that I did things and I strive towards goals simply because they would make me a lot of money, right? Like I worked X number of jobs because I want to make a lot of money, right? I set goals based upon the value of money. And that necessarily wasn't a bad thing, right? But sometimes my values were like that value of money was it was a bit skewed, and I was in it for the wrong reasons. And so the thing that kept me from taking action to choose myself and take care of myself was this skewed, distorted thought, understanding I had of the value of money. And so tonight, I really want us to talk about how do you live. How do you live without fear? How do you create and do the things in your life that are most important to you? You have to make value-based decisions. And I think somebody said it yesterday. It's like, well, how do I know that I'm making this, like, how do I know that I can trust myself to make these good decisions? And, I would just offer you this, like, first, like I told her, do your work, right? Work on your mindset, work on the thoughts and the things that you tell yourself, work towards not making such strong, emotionally based decisions. And then you can start to figure out what is it that really, really matters to me in life, right? So ask yourself these questions. What type of quality of life do you want? How do you want to be remembered? What fills you with a sense of purpose and joy? And how do you want to show up for yourself and other people? And what that really means is, so it's like, Kendra, well, what does that have to do with choosing myself, right? When you live a value-driven life and you make choices and decisions, including yourself, based upon the quality of life you want to have, you start to think about yourself and other people just a little bit differently. When you think about, it can be kind of, grimace sometimes. People don't want to think about death, but sometimes I'll ask people the question like, well, what would you want someone to say at your eulogy? Like, what would you want? Like, how do you want to be remembered? And if the decisions that you're making right now, if the way that you're living your life right now, if the choices and actions you're taking right now, if the thoughts that you have right now are not in alignment with that, then mom, it's time for you to make a shift, right? It's time for you to start choosing yourself, choosing the legacy that you want to leave, right? Because again, remember we said self-care can be anything, choosing yourself can be anything that makes you feel whole, healthy, free, and increases your quality of everyday life. And again, what fills you with a sense of purpose and joy. So if you are doing things, so I think yesterday somebody said that their habit is to move really, really fast, is working, paying bills, taking care of the kids, rinse and repeat, right? And so, yes, we know that we love our kids. Yes, we know our kids fill us with a huge sense of purpose and love and fulfillment, right? But there is more to just being a mom. You have to be a woman. And what does that mean for you to walk into your purpose as a woman, not just the mom piece of you, right? And so what are the things on the woman side that brings you a sense of purpose and fulfillment and joy? And if you're not tapping into those things, then you are missing a whole part of yourself, right? So if if your decisions right now, if all of your goals, if all of the action that you're taking right now is solely based upon the needs, the wishes, and the desires of your kids, then I would say you're missing the boat on some things, right? You're missing the boat, but also you're really neglecting yourself. And that might be a reason why you're not able to do certain things. That might be the reason why you're not able to fulfill certain goals and purposes, because you're not doing it for the right reasons. And the last question is, how do you want to show up for yourself and other people? And so, showing up for yourself just means choosing yourself, right? It means today, I want the day to look like this. And we know that all the time, it won't happen that way, right? Reasonably so. But you can set and start the day with some intention, some goals, right? So if your goal is to stop hitting the snooze button, wake up, meditate in the morning, and meditate for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then go into your day, if that becomes a value that you have, then you do it, right? Instead of the goal just being, I just want to get to the day, I just want to go to work and continue on with my time. Like that goal is going to get short, like, right? That goal is going to, it's not going to fill you up. It's not going to leave you with a sense of purpose, because all you're doing is working. All you're doing is taking care of your kids. All you're doing is just rinse and repeat, doing the same things over and over again. And that other people part is super important, because like, if you want to show up for your kids differently, if you want to show your kids values, right? So, I use this example because I found myself doing this when I was a single mother. I bought my daughter so much stuff, right? Shoes, clothes, toys. We lived with my parents at the time, and you would walk into her room and you would almost have to like kick toys out of the way, kick random whatevers out of the way to even get to her bed. It wasn't like in a junky way. She just had so much stuff, right? And so the value that I was starting to teach her was materialism. Stuff matters. You have to have stuff in order to be happy or to have fun or be able to play, right? And so some of us, moms are still doing that now, where we just buy our kids stuff, give them money, give them things, right? But what are you really teaching them? Are you teaching them the goal of, oh, I want to get a job when I get 16 so I can make a lot of money and be able to buy a car, right? Like yes, that's an awesome goal. But eventually that goal is going to be shallow, and it's not going to be enough to grow and develop your kids or grow and develop you. And so that is why I say it's about setting goals, taking action without fear, but also making sure that the goals that you are making for yourself and for your family in general have a strong foundation on them. And so I really just want to like break down what goals and values are, right? And let's check this. Okay, we're good. So goals and values are different. And oftentimes people get those two terms and words confused. They're not the same thing. Goals are just like checkpoints, checkpoints and accomplishments that you have throughout the day, the week, the month, the year, right? So if your goal is for you to start a business, if your goal is for you to earn a certain amount of money, if your goal is for you to buy a house, like those are all awesome things that you at some point can obtain and check off your list, right? They're almost like life milestones. So you think about big things like entering into the 700 credit score club, or buying a house, or maybe buying your first brand new car. Those are all goals and milestones that are awesome and great. But oftentimes I hear moms say, I just don't feel like I'm fulfilled enough, or it just always seems like it's just not enough, right? Goals are awesome, but goals are also short-lived. You get excited, you bought the house, you're in the house, and you want something else, right? You get the car, you got a brand new car, then you want something else, right? You finally finished that degree, went back to school, and then you want something else, right? And so in some way, there's nothing wrong with that. But in order for you to really like choose yourself and practice this idea of nurturing yourself so that you don't constantly feel like, as a single mom, you have to always be going. You have to always be doing. You have to always be accomplishing something. You have to really understand what is the why that's driving that goal. And that should be some type of value, because if it's almost like you're always chasing after a carrot, and you won't ever really be able to get the carrot because you're not quite sure why you're running in the first place, right? And so a value is something that will guide you in a direction in life. And so for me, I oftentimes use the example of money for me, because that was a value that I had, but it was a skewed value, right? And so I had all these goals, all these aspirations, all these things that I really, really, really wanted to do, but they were all like, okay, I got the job, but the joy of that job was short-lived, right? Like I started to make a certain amount of money, but the joy of that income was short-lived, right? Like I kept chasing something, and I never quite felt fulfilled, right? And so that's when the fear part started to creep in and say, like, well, why can't I just, like, why don't I feel happy? Why isn't this enough? What's going to happen next, right? But when you start to live a life that's full of values and has more purpose, you can start to behave and act in ways even if you don't feel like doing it in the moment, right? So a value that I try to live and subscribe to now in my life is community, right? I strongly believe in this idea that I am one person, part of a larger group, and it is my duty, my responsibility as a human being almost to lend my talents and my skills and my love and my, my knowledge and just my hands to the community, right? Like that's one part of it. I also believe strongly in collaboration. So I'm definitely not one of those people um, that is that's bothered by helping others, giving other people information, helping another mom or woman start her business or give her resources, because I strongly believe that there's nothing that I can tell you that's going to allow you to take what's for me, right? If anything, again, like we're all part of one larger community and body of people trying to figure life out, right? So there's no need for me to feel challenged by someone else. Like that's a value that I have. And so so do I act that way all the time? No. But in general, the goals that I have for myself, the jobs that I do, the way that I interact with people is always in this light of trying to help and pour into people. So ladies, I want you to just kind of like stop, and I'm checking Facebook and I see I have some comments because I want you all to think about it like this, right? If you are constantly feeling like it's just not enough, if you're constantly feeling like there's always something bigger, always something more that you want to get, but you're not getting it, it might be fear, right? Like you might be in this what if, I don't know, anxiety of the unknown situation. And you might also be leaning too heavily towards trying to accomplish another goal, right? Instead of trying to live out a way that is giving your life true meaning. And so that at the end of the day, no matter if you accomplish the goal or don't accomplish the goal, you are still walking in the direction of the thing that mattered most to you. So let me check this. All right, so somebody on Zoom is asking, like, how do you know if you're in fear mode or if you're in goal mode, meaning like you have too many goals and you're just overwhelmed? So that's a really good question, because it's easy to want to achieve so much that you just keep doing, right? And so it can be like overload, meaning you're just doing too much. Like you're just flat out doing too much. And maybe you're being overwhelmed by all the tasks, all the things that you have to do. And then it can turn into fear, where you're just like, okay, I can't possibly handle all of these things. I couldn't possibly handle all of these tasks. So, mom, I would just offer you the idea of like just taking a step back, right? So going back to day 1, day 2, and just taking a pause and reflecting on why you've set these list of goals for yourself, right? Like why behind the what. So why are you trying to do this? Like what's the motivation behind what you're trying to do? And if it is based on somebody else's expectation, right? You trying to escape some single mom stereotype, you feeling like you have to do this or you should do this so that you can prove to someone or maybe yourself that you're not weak or, whatever, right? Like the things that we talked about in day 1, then that might be a time for you to like just press pause. So I love this. I think it was Jasmine that said yesterday that she's resting right now because she's got a lot of things that she wants to do, a lot of things that she knows that she can do, but she's in this season of rest, right? And so that has to be a value at some point, that I don't have to always be checking off a box and doing a goal to have a life that is meaningful, to have a life that brings me joy, because you can just be chilling and not really working on anything big or no big the next business idea, right? But you can still feel joyful and fulfillment in just the journey of life, because you have a value driven life. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed by the tasks and the things and the to-dos, I would just offer you to just take a pause and evaluate why you're trying to do all these things and what is the motivating factor of you wanting to do these things, right? And so, ladies, like I told you, today was going to be short because we had some really awesome conversations the first 2 days. And I didn't want to load you all down with to-dos. But so tonight it's just like another like reflection space. And you guys had some really awesome reflections to put in the Facebook group around like, what are the things that you need to do to let go of? And so tonight I would just offer you this thought of, what are the things, maybe the goals that you need to reevaluate? What are the goals that you need to maybe potentially take off of the list right now in this season? Because again, you're deciding to choose yourself and not other people's expectations, or, the negative core beliefs and negative thoughts you have, right? So I want you all to just kind of like check in and reevaluate your goals, even with COVID right now, right? Like there might be things that you thought you were going to be able to do in the beginning of the year, and it's now August, and you're like, and maybe you're still trying to like push and do it because you think that thing is going to bring you some magical sense of, joy and excitement, but it's not, right? So maybe that's the time for you to hit pause and reevaluate the goal and figure out, what is the value that I really want to have in my life? Like how is it that I want to be remembered instead of being remembered by a list of to-dos, right? So that's what I'll post in the Facebook group as kind of like the takeaways from today is, what are the goals that you maybe need to reconsider, reevaluate, and maybe table right now, so that you can choose yourself, nurture your feelings, nurture your emotions, and take some of the fear out of the equation, because maybe mom, you were just doing too much. So I'm going to stop my screen share here. Yep, I answered the 2 questions that were in the chat. Okay, awesome. So ladies, tonight, again, post in the Facebook group, what are some of the things that you know for sure that you need to reevaluate, stop doing, so that you can choose yourself and start to practice a little bit more self-awareness, and stop and almost like get off this hamster wheel of having to do, checking off the box, wanting to accomplish things, because that's not always how you achieve happiness and joy in life. It's not always with busyness and doing stuff. So ladies, as always, it's day 3 of the challenge. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow is all about like, how do you attract a tribe? How do you attract an audience, right? How do you attract people that are going to support you, nurture you, care about you, so that you no longer feel like, I'm alone, I can't trust people, I can't do this, I don't really have a support system. It's kind of so, right? Because as a single mom, you need support. This idea of raising a child, I'm using air quotes, alone, just in itself is difficult mentally. So that's why you need a tribe. You need a support system. And really the only way for you to be able to do these things on a regular, consistent basis is for you to, I'm sorry, I'm checking Facebook. It's for you to be able to attach yourself to other people. They're going to push you, motivate you, love on you, and help you get it done. So ladies, I hope you enjoyed tonight about how do you set goals, how do you maybe reevaluate some goals, and how do you start to live a life that is more based in values than just this idea of being busy, do, so that you can feel like you're doing something when really you're not doing anything at all. So y'all, I will see you all tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, thank you to the ladies that joined me on Zoom and asked those awesome questions. And same thing to the ladies in the Facebook group. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.